Hello, welcome back for part two. This is case file part two, case file three, part one of two. You know what I'm saying? So, what happened next was this right here. Sarah was keeping her dad busy, chatting up and everything like that. Well, me and uh, me and Deuce were uninvited guests. Yes, she did not want her dad to know what her plan was. See, she had this all set up. Her dad, the thief, well, he was a thief. He was never a robber. He never robbed anybody. He was a thief. Still is. He was chatting away, explaining all the splits that he'd done over the years. She was never going to turn him, and he knew this. Jim, on the other hand, well, Jim just didn't care. Well, he did. He was scouting out the area to see where all the cameras were and giving us feedback of where and how to get in and get out. Now, this was an Airbnb. This was someone else's house. Not the man who was living there right now, but the man who was about 5,000 miles away in Korea. He was a promoter, business promoter. Well, not business promoter, a music promoter. He promoted a bunch of K-pop groups, a few J-pop groups, a few F-pop groups, I guess French pop, if you want to call it that. Now, if anyone knew the passcodes to shut down the alarms, to shut down the cameras, he would. So after Jim was done scouting, he told us where all the cameras were, how to avoid them and whatnot, and so on and so forth. I got this clever idea. I called the man whose house this was and said I was Sarah's dad in a most convincing coughing voice that I could, and said I forgot the passcode to get into the house without the alarm going off. He also asked me if I wanted the alarm to the safe room. I forgot it too. Said yes, I forgot it as well. I forgot it. He said he was going to change it when he got back, but the alarm code was, well, I won't reveal that. Confidential. So what I did was, me and Deuce waited until midnight. There were a few security guards. Of course, he would hire security. He's a thief. Why wouldn't he? Now, Sarah was spending a night there. So was Jim as guests. They were going to help us bypass the camera. See, we could get in there without the alarms going off, but the cameras were another thing. See, they were motion sensor cameras. Like I said, they were spending the night there. Why? He asked them to. You figure they didn't know where the artifacts were. He didn't know why they were there. He just figured that that was Sarah's boyfriend, and he figured that was, she just came to visit in France. Now, why would we need to use the passcodes if we had Sarah in there? Well, you see, the passwords were not just to get in, they was to get out. Double lock system. He didn't trust Sarah enough to give her the passcode to get in or out. Weird, huh? You don't trust your own daughter. Well, they all bed down for the night. All but him. He left. No, why did he leave? Well, don't worry about that. We'll get to that next, and then we'll get to that later. Now, our plan was to get Sarah and them on the inside to shut down the cameras. So, if once we got the object in question, the cameras would not catch us leaving or entering or exiting. He would never know the camera stopped recording. There'd be no missing timestamps. Well, there would be. Power outage. We had that set up too. We got in there, put the passcode in. Sarah did not know where the vault was, but I knew. She went in to turn off the cameras. Jim went to shut down. Waited for my signal. I got into the vault. Took the sword. Shut the vault. Wiped any fingerprints down. And Jim shut the power off. Just as Sarah shut the cameras. Sarah turned the cameras back on, and just as she did, Jim shut the power off. Bam. Power outage. We got out, me and Deuce left. No, where was Deuce the entire time? Someone had to distract the guards. And Deuce is a very pretty woman. Just don't look in her eyes. We snuck out with the sword. Sarah and Jim waited up an hour or so and shut the power back on. They were known for outages in France in that area. Just so happens, how did I know this? Well, the owner of the house said, be careful. The power in that area goes off and all the locks unlock. Power goes out, the locks unlock. For about an hour or so, and the power comes back on. It happens 3 times a week. About the time that Jim shut the power off. Sarah's dad would know this. So there'd be no actual time skip. The cameras there was, then well, it's an hour. we got we got out. Sarah stayed in, her dad came home, came to his back to the Airbnb. He asked us, he, Sarah and them left. He checked the recordings on the tape, and sure enough, there was an hour time skip. He didn't think nothing of it until he checked the vault. He checked the vault, the sword was missing. Now, of course, Sarah and Jim brought nothing but knapsacks. The sword was too big to fit into a knapsack. Of course, he called Sarah and asked if anyone else other than her had came into the house. She said no, they were in there watching movies all night until the power went out. Then they started reading books by candlelight. Jim wasn't much of a reader, but he did like Shakespeare. Isn't much of a reader. But he, like I said, he does like Shakespeare. Sorry. Now, what had happened to the sword? Well, we turned it back into gave it back to the Museum of France. Told them not to say anything but wait a week. Sarah's dad was going to leave in a week. A rather pissed off man, but still, he had the staff. It wasn't in France. He had already sold it to a society called the Celtic Society of Magic. We're going to be dealing with them a lot more later. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, good luck, good night, and God bless. I will be doing more two-parters, maybe three-parters. I'm thinking about doing that on magical objects, other things like that. I'm going to start doing three-parters because I don't like these 10-minute episodes, and I'd like to rather span it out to a short, medium, long. So I'm going to continue to do that. But with that said, good luck, good night, God bless.